Okay, so it's a rainy day here, and it's actually, what time is it? Time change. So it's 1 o'clock. It's crazy. But I've already had my coffee, 2 cups already, of course. So I'm starting the day off just perfect. Noelle and Zara is at the studio. Zara was there yesterday helping Noelle. The studio's been pretty busy the last little bit of time. And so Zara's there helping her because I think we have a party today. We had a party yesterday and a party today. So Zara loves that type of thing. So she loves the whole creative thing and being a part of all that, and especially parties and helping people. So she's there. Obviously, she's got a mask and a shield because we want to make sure we got these N95s. I have a big old bundle of them. I have another box over here too of those. So we wear those. And then we also wear a face shield as well, just to make sure that we're nice and safe. And we also make sure that we sanitize everything after people leave, and we pour paint for people. So we want to minimize the risk, any potential risk, as much as possible, right? But that's not why I'm doing this video. This video is actually about what someone had wrote into me. Make sure you join the Discord. It's going to be down in the description box below. Talk about a lot of different things, right? Sometimes there's things we talk about, and I'm like, dang, I never thought about that, or whoa, that's really cool. Whatever. And then people also are able to ask me personal questions. So they're able to go in Discord, you can actually chat. Not only with everybody, but you can actually send DMs to me if you have questions that you want to talk about, or talk about just in general, you don't want to share to people. I have people do that all the time. So you're able to do that as well. This is, I don't know if it's an Ask HershNoeie, but yeah, it is. So they start off saying that I watched your videos quite a bit. I'm only 23 and I'm a young black man out of Houston. I am now learning to invest in different things, and I got my passport. Why get the passport? I know to visit and learn about the world, but I don't understand beyond that what's the purpose of getting the passport. I do understand the purpose of investing, and I'm definitely doing that. But why, other than just traveling and seeing places, is getting a passport important? Not saying that that's a bad thing, but why is that important? Very good question. It's important, I think, as a young person who doesn't have any sort of ties, meaning that you don't have anything holding you down, to explore the world. I think that young black men specifically should do things that's very unconventional, such as learning how to swim, camping, hiking, backpacking, snowboarding, skiing. All of those things are very unconventional for young black men, is what should be done. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about what you're capable of, different interests, things that you like. I think that by doing those types of things, it really does put you in a better position, because you're able to relate to people more. When people strike up conversations with me, they will bring up different topics and I can talk about, like, yeah, when I went skiing, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, cool. And then they go into more information, right? And talk about different things. And I think that that's important. It's a fuzz. I think that's important. You're able to talk to people because you're meeting them at their level also. You become more of a well-rounded person. So I think that having just different interests, or trying different things that you normally would not try or do, or that you haven't done before, just makes you overall, it helps you grow as a person, right? The other thing is that I think that young black men should be involved in a little bit of everything, because we're just not represented enough in these different areas. And really and truly, we don't have a friend in the world half the time. You know what I mean? I'm a part of a Facebook group called Black Fathers, and I mentioned how it is such a very positive, you don't have any negativity. I think there was one post where someone was being negative, And everybody checked that person and said, this is not the place for the negativity. This is not the place for, dysfunction and all of that. We always have positive stuff that's being said. And you do hear that. You hear so much encouragement from that group, and it's a pretty large group. That is something that I really and truly love. I don't talk much in any Facebook group anyway, but just having that is important because you don't always hear the positives. And I'm not talking about from other people. I'm talking about within Black people. You don't hear positive stuff about Black men, typically not. Even from Black men, you don't hear positive stuff typically. So this group is really, really nice, right? So to me, I think it's important to get involved in things where you can be a part of groups like what I'm a part of there, but also branch out into other groups, because when you start to experience other people, other cultures, other races of people, you learn from those people. You learn from those people. There are some people who tell you, no, don't do it. I disagree. I disagree strongly. I grew up in a very diverse, I was born and raised in a diverse city or area. And there was a lot of things that I learned from different groups of people. Most of the people I grew up with were white. I learned a lot of things. A lot of great experiences. When I got a little bit older, one of my friends was from Cambodia. And I had another one that was from Korea. A lot of great experiences, just learning things, hearing stuff. And they were young, but they would talk about they weren't that young. I think they were 13 or so. But they would talk about where they're from or where their parents are from. One was Korean American, so he talked about where his parents were from. The other one was from Cambodia, and he talked about life before America. It's just, that stuff's fascinating, right? It's fascinating. You learn from other people. Don't just stay in your community and that's easy to do. Branch out. There's nothing wrong with having friends of different races, different backgrounds, different experiences, different social economic backgrounds. I had friends of all different wealth categories, right? I had some really country bumpkin friends. And the stereotype is if someone is wearing Red Wing boots. I don't know if people still do anymore, but back when I was in high school, a lot of kids wore Red Wing boots and country dudes, just country people. And the stereotype is they're going to be racist. They're not going to like you. And it was, those weren't really the ones that were the problem. Some of the out of the way, farthest away folks were some of the nicest, coolest people who were very welcoming and very cool. And some of those people I still know today. Not all. There's some that were a bit bigoted, but a lot of them were not. You can't go on appearances. And when I say travel the world, it's because the same thing, instead of hearing it from someone who either was born and raised there or lived there or whatever, you're able to experience it yourself. You're able to literally go to these places and see different things and experience different things. The smells are going to be different. You see what I'm saying? If you're just stuck in the same place, like, for example, my sister has never really left where she was born. This is not a slam against my sister, but she just never really has. She's taken some trips here and there, but to go and leave the country, none of my sisters have ever done that. They've never left the country. And so nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people that haven't. But for me, I have to be able to go and see other places. I have to. They've been centered mainly in that same area. My sister's never been to Washington State or California or any of those places. And so you don't get to see the beauty of what this country is about, the different types of people that you run across. And, going into New Mexico, for example, seeing, I've seen all these things as a kid of, Pueblo style housing and buildings and all of this. But to see it in real life is breathtaking. That's one thing about Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's breathtaking to see all of that. It's like, dang, this is real. People build brand new houses and they look like the Pueblo style housing. So you get to experience things when you do travel. You're never gonna reading a book is different. Someone telling you about it is completely different. But actually being there, you can't put a price tag on that. That's the first thing. Second thing is that you're never going to really get a chance to do that. There's places I would like to visit. Thailand's a good example. Japan's a good example. I'm never going to get to go to those places by myself. Never. And given the fact that we have so many kids, it's expensive to go to those places. Packing up the whole family and going to those places, it's extremely expensive. Then you're going to be doing a lot of kiddie style stuff. You're not going to be able to really go and take long, like a long day hike someplace up a mountain or a ruin or something like that. You're not going to be able to. It's all going to be kind of designed around what the youngest kid's able to handle. That's basically what it's going to be. So when it comes to Japan, for example, you guys know how I feel about Japan. I'd love to go there. But the cost to get there and to room everybody is insane. It's insane. So the chances of going is not going to happen. I can't go by myself. Noelle is never going to let that happen. For me to go by myself, come on. Not going to happen. And then as far as Thailand, that's way out of the question. I mean, come on. The stereotype of Thailand and what Thailand's kind of known for, she says, I don't care if you were to go there. I know that you're not going to do anything, but, I'd like to visit Thailand too. And it's like, are you kidding? Do you realize what it would take to get there? Any place. The cost is so expensive. And we wouldn't be able to do much because I know the girls. We can go to the beach here. 15 minutes later, they're done walking. We can go on a hike. They're done walking after 10 minutes. And you would have to take them back, like you have to pack them back. So it's like you're never going to really experience what you want to experience when you have wife and kids. Unless those kids are teenagers, and then it's still like the expense is still there, and you're still not going to really get to be able to do some of the things you want to do. When you have no commitments, that's when you want to be able. Some people say, is there one thing that you wish you would have did? And I've always said travel, because that is the one thing that has such a high value on it that you can't even put a price tag on it. You won't be able to do these things when you're married with kids. Just isn't going to happen. And for those who are able to do it, they're lucky. But the chances of that happening in your case, typically it's a greater chance it won't even happen. And I have someone who's pretty open-minded, but it's just not going to happen unless I have to do business there or something like that. When I went to Haiti, that was different, but it just isn't. So I would say, think about that. You have to think of things that you don't even imagine right now. When I was 19 or 20, I didn't think I would end up with this many kids and, married and have a business and living in Tacoma, Washington. No, life happens. It does its thing. And while you don't have all of those other things, like a job that, that you're tied to, and a house payment that you're tied to, and these different things, you don't have all of those. It's not baggage, but you don't have all of those commitments. You don't have all those commitments. You don't have other things you have to answer to and that you're responsible for. You're just responsible for you. It's important to get it. You at this age, you can get a job and work for a few months, save up all that money and quit. And they expect that. They're like, okay, well, yeah, whatever. On to the next one. When you get my age, you can't just do that. Unless the job is trash and you definitely are done, that's different. But typically, you're going to be there for a long time unless the company is, downsizing. But you're there for a long time. You have to be responsible. At your age, you don't have any, that is, if you don't have any kids already or whatever, but you don't have anything that's tying you down. So save your money. Get that passport, which I think you have. Travel. Right now, things are kind of dicey, but hopefully later this year that changes. Travel. the very first thing I would do if I were you would be travel to Asian countries. It's typically going to be, it depends. It could be a little bit cheaper. Europe right now is kind of, because of the sickness. Asian countries are doing a little bit better. I would travel to Asian countries. Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Japan, Korea, right? Travel. Experience what life is. Live the way the people there do temporarily just to see what that's like. You see what I'm saying? Try the food. Be a part of that. You know, a lot of times it's a bonus if there's some sort of a festival or an event going on. Be a part of that. Those places I mentioned are relatively safe as long as you're not flaunting cash and flapping it around. You know, you don't have to worry about it. Visit places in Africa. Go to different countries. Ghana, let's see, Cote d'Ivoire, you know, Angola. These are popular places. South Africa, Kenya, right? The Gambia. These are places that are fairly popular in Africa that people go to. Egypt. Go visit the world. Travel. Travel, travel, travel. Now, with African countries, they're humongously big. The continent of Africa is massive to begin with. But so a lot of times people don't necessarily just skip hop all over the place like you can in Europe. Europe, you can go all over the place. It's very well connected, all of that. Traveling across Europe might not be as hard as it is in Africa. In Africa, it's pretty hard because the countries are much, much bigger and the landmass is tremendously big. I mean, you could put Europe and the United States all into Africa and still have a bunch of land left. So it's huge. So there you have to kind of pinpoint a couple of places you want to go to or a particular coast that you want to go to and hang out there. So it's a little bit different. But visit the world, travel to different places, travel and have different types of food, different experiences, because once you get older, you're not going to. And then by the time you get to my age and your kids get to be adults where you can literally go and, you know, you don't have, you know, to worry about someone saying, I'm hungry, but I don't like this type of food and I don't want this. Once I get to that age where I don't have to worry about that, I'm going to be retired. So it's like, at that point, I'm just going to want to probably sleep. You know what I mean? I've worked my butt off so much. It's like at that point, I'm not going to be interested in going. So that's one of the things that I wish I would have done after my first marriage in that time frame, instead of wasting so much time and money. I spent enough money for me to travel the world once or twice. Yeah, easily. During that time frame of when I was divorced versus when I got married again, that whole middle period, I wasted a ton of money and a ton of time. And I could have used that money, that's the regret I have, to travel and experience the things I'm telling you to do. So that is the reason why. So that you don't actually wonder, like, I wonder what that's like. Now, it's not to say I'd never get to go to Japan. I will, but if you're a guy, a lot of times women will control kind of what happens. Facts. So if you want to, you know, the itinerary is going to be kind of skewed in the direction that she wants. And I have a pretty open-minded wife, but I know that it's going to be based on a lot of what she wants to do. It's not going to necessarily be what you may want to do. I'm not saying that everything Noelle is going to pick just for her. It's going to be a mix of some of the things we all want to do, but there's going to be a couple of things I know I'm not going to be like jumping for joy to do. Like when we're going to go to Hawaii, there's certain things I'm like, all right. I mean, it's Hawaii, so everything's going to be bomb. But that's kind of that's what happens, right? It's give and take. There's going to be things I'm wanting to do that she's going to be like, this is boring. But that's just the way it is, right? Most of what we want to do, 90% of the things we want to do is what we both like, right? And that the kids are going to enjoy. But I would say if you're that age, be greedy. That's the one thing I can tell you to do, is be greedy, because there will come a point in time where you're not going to really be able to, and that you're not going to really have the time to do. So it's important. Also, I think with the sickness, it should teach us all that nothing is promised. Nothing's promised. When you sit and think, well, I'm going to do this year, next year I'll travel or whatever. It's like, no, definitely do it. Now, the cruise industry is one of those, right? But that's a good way of hitting up a few different places all at one time. You have basically a floating hotel. And it's bomb because your food's included, entertainment's included, like everything's great. You get to go to these different countries and hop off and hop back on. It's nice. So once that industry starts to get a little bit better, that may be something you may want to try. As a single guy, it's a good deal, man. You don't have to worry about anybody. The problem with a cruise is that they give you a little, this is my stick of gum, my gum. They give you a little card, and that little card, I guess I could use this. They give you a card of the name of the cruise company that you're on. It's got, I think, your photo on it. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but I know they give you a little card smaller than this, and you're able to scan that to get back on. Because otherwise, if you go to the Bahamas, for example, there's a lot of different of the same cruise companies right there, so you may get on the wrong ship. But they're able to scan it, and they're like, yep, get back on. You're cool. Right? When you have a family, you got to keep track of everybody's cards and make sure that now it may have changed. This has been years since I took a cruise. They may just do it differently or whatever, but you have to be you have to always be responsible for everything, right? Whereas you by yourself, you pack a backpack, everything that you need is on your backpack. Because you're a guy. That's the way I would travel. I'm gone for a week, I roll everything as tight as I can in a backpack. I'm good. Like, I don't have to worry about luggage or stuff under the plane or any of that crap. It's just on me. It's the best thing in the world. So yeah, absolutely, that's why. So anyhow, hope I answered your question. Make sure you join the Discord down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.